Alright, people, review of the week time. So, a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. We normally start with a review of the fight card that was on, whether it be the night before, whether it be on Friday. Before we actually get into that, obviously this week it was very sad because we heard Georgia O'Connor. Sadly, she lost her battle with cancer, and 25 years old. She only got married a couple of weeks back. I'd seen her at least on one boxer show, and obviously I knew she wasn't well for a little while, and it did seem bad. It just still like it. I don't know how you even like. All I can do is give my sympathy and thoughts and prayers to her family and loved ones at this time. Yeah, it's not nice. It's not nice when anyone passes, but 25 years old is nothing. Like in this day and age, 25 years old is still seen as a baby in many respects. So, thoughts and prayers at this time go out to her family. There's nothing I can say that'll make it any better, but respect to Georgia O'Connor, and may she rest. Me and Ade spoke about this briefly, and it's really weird that like you do that, you speak about it, and then you have to try and kind of go back into the normal boxing talk, which is kind of hard. It's just kind of weird because you've gone from that, and then you're kind of like try and get it back in. But that's what we're going to try and do. We're going to talk about GBM first and foremost, because that show was on this Friday. I watched a couple of fights that were on it, and really enjoyable. I have to say, Izzy as if is a promoter. I've never met him. I've never met Izzy. I'd like to. I'd quite like to have a chat with him sometime because he seems like a really, really, really good guy. And I love listening to interviews with him when he's talking about his story of starting out as a promoter a couple of years ago with a dream of doing a stadium fight in a world title, and he's gone and done that. And really likable man, I have to say. Really, really likable guy, and credit to him. The shows he's putting on, I mean, you can't fault them. You can't fault them. They're very, very good. There's great domestic fights. There was a world title fight on this card. And overall, I thought the card was absolutely brilliant. I seen Reese Mulder and Lewis Sylvester. That was a cracking fight. That was an absolutely cracking fight. Reese Mulder, did I say Mulder and Scully? Like, jeez, what was I talking about? Reese Mulder and Lewis Sylvester. I seen Reese Mulder against Gary Cully. A bit unlucky in that fight, and he was stopped, I think, in his previous contest, if I'm not mistaken. Well, he's won his last two, but Ryan Walsh stopped him in a round. I think that was on a GBM show as well. Lewis Sylvester, I remember him fighting Sam Noakes in the Copper Box last year. I was at that fight, and Lewis Sylvester's a good technical boxer, but you can tell he's no punching power at all. Although saying that, he did buzz Reese Moulton this fight with a counter right hand to the head. It was a great little contest. Lewis Sylvester wins a split decision. Can't really argue with it. I thought it was a phenomenal little fight. James Flint, the guy who's beaten Campbell Hatton twice, he went in there for the vacant IBO Continental 140-pound title. He lost a unanimous decision to Hatim Lamuz. I think is how you say his name. I think it's how you pronounce his name. Apologies. From Malta, 35 years old. There's not really much to say. Like, James Flint did not impress me against Campbell Hatton at all. So it's not me. I don't mean to be rude to him, but he didn't. It's just that's how bad Campbell Hatton really is. So not much to say there. Archie Sharp and Maxie Hughes. Archie Sharp is an interesting one because this is his second straight defeat, and Maxie Hughes, I knew he'd lose this fight going. It's bizarre, right? Because one judge scored at 115, 113, so that's 5 rounds to 7, which implies it was a very close fight, right? Which implies that. One judge had it 120, 108, so one judge couldn't find a round to give to Archie Sharp, and the other judge found 5. How did, make that make sense? Honestly, seriously, make that make sense. If he'd given Archie Sharp one more round, you would have had one judge scoring about even and the other judge scoring it a shutout. Honestly, it's very rare you see scorecards like that, where one judge has it a shutout and the other one has it as close as you can without having it even. It's like, what the hell happened there? But yeah, Maxi Hughes, I expected him to win. He's operated at a much higher level than Archie Sharp. Archie Sharp never really impressed me that much, but he had a good run about 5 years ago when he was on a couple of Queensbury shows back in the BT Sport days. And he looked a decent puncher. He looked alright. I think he was number one ranked with the WBO. I don't think it was mandatory, but I think he was ranked number one at 130. And yeah, since he's kind of had that inactivity stretch and he's come back, he's lost twice. And even the fight before he lost, he was looking really, really on. He was on the ragged edge in that fight, so that wasn't particularly good. And then obviously Terry Harper against Natalie Zimmerman. Horrific cut on the forehead or the head of Natalie Zimmerman by the end of it. But Terry Harper successfully defended her title in Doncaster. I thought Terry Harper's career was pretty much done after she was beaten by Alicia Baumgartner in 2 rounds, stopped by Sandy Ryan. But she came back last year. I'm going to want to say, I clicked off her box right there. I'm going to want to say it was September time thereabouts last year against Rihanna Dixon. Went in there very much as I don't know, was she the underdog with the bookies, but Rihanna Dixon was the girl that Matchroom were pushing, and Terry Harper went in there, upset the apple cart, and credit to her, she's doing very well with her career. We think of Terry Harper as a kind of older fighter. She's not even 30 yet, so she's just been around an awful long time, a really, really long time. So that's Terry Harper, that's the GBM show. Let's talk about Frank Warren and Josh Taylor, but let's talk about Aloysius Jr. Let's talk about him first against David Jemison. So, Aloysius Jr. He's a character, certainly. He's an interesting character. He is very he's not afraid to big himself up, to say the least. Definitely has punching power. Certainly does. Ask David Jemison that, he'll tell you. I don't know how high his ceiling necessarily is. I look at the likes of Adele Riley, Isaac Chamberlain, and I think, I don't know if I'll be picking you over them guys anytime soon. But he does at least have punching power. He had Jemison down in each of the 3 rounds, and the final punch, the left hook, was spectacular. It was a brilliant left hook. It really was. So I will watch Aloysius Jr. because he is very entertaining in and out of the ring. He definitely is. But I don't know how high his ceiling really is going to be. I mean, he's already taken an L. I think that was in his pro debut, which again, you do maybe take some of those fights in context, maybe bad matchmaking and stuff like that, and who did he fight in his pro debut? Oh, well, the guy's undefeated, Polish guy at 26 years old. I mean, that's, as I said, and he's fought that Israel Dufes guy. I think I've seen him before, so that, you could argue that's probably just bad matchmaking. That was in 2021. Was that in the Queensbury show, actually? And it was. No, David Elias on the card. Oh, interesting. But yeah, so that's Aloysius Jr. Let's talk about Nathaniel Collins, Lee McGregor. I like Lee McGregor. I do. I think he's a good fighter. I think that he was devastating at 118 pounds. He's not a featherweight. He's just not a featherweight. I'm sorry, he's not a featherweight. I mean, he struggled against, I don't know, he didn't struggle. But McGregor was a decent puncher at 118. And he was more competitive than I thought he would be against low IQ last time out there. So him against Nathaniel Collins I've been impressed with. He's been looking good. So I wasn't surprised that he beat up Lee McGregor. I just hope Lee McGregor can get down even to 122, because I just don't think he's a featherweight. I really don't. I just don't think that. I don't think he's a featherweight. Moses Itauma versus Mike Belugan. I've already done a review of that fight, so I'm not going to labour the point. Itauma knocked out Mike Belugan in 2 rounds, knocked him out, I was going to say damn near out cold, but he was trying to get back up. Credit to him. He was very game, incredibly game. Itauma is tremendously talented. The foot speed, the hand speed, the punching power, the counter punching, everything. It's just phenomenal to watch. It really, truly is. In terms of, because we're not even going to labour the point, talk about the fight. In terms of what he does next, I'm going to go and say Jermaine Franklin. I think that'd be a good shout. And then, if you get by him and you look good doing it, maybe then you can look at Martin Bacoli. I think Martin Bacoli now is a bridge too far, potentially. I look at the style of Bacoli and I do think, Itauma could do a lot of work there. He really could. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, But if it goes wrong, it's going to go wrong spectacularly for Itauma in there. So it's an interesting one. But Cody was ringside. Whether Frank Warren does that fight next, I do not know. I still think Moses Itauma is a tremendous talent. I'd be very, very surprised if he's not a world champion in the next 12 to 18 months. In fact, I'd be amazed if he isn't, quite frankly. Regardless of the winner of Dubois Usyk, the belt will probably become fragmented, or certainly one or two of them will, and I'd be very surprised if he doesn't pick up a title, or at the very least fight for one. I really would. I think that's the kind of trajectory we're on with this kid. I've mentioned the likes of Adelaide, TKV, but realistically, he probably is past that. He probably is. You know, now if he wants, there's no harm in fighting those guys. If you want to get a British title, there's no shame in that. But yeah, he probably is genuinely past them. Really, he is. He's just, that kid is just, holy crap. Like, seriously, that kid is, man, boy has talent to burn. And he just seems so switched on. It's great to see, because you know the one thing you wouldn't want is a kid that talented who's not switched on and is a bit, you know, I think Itauma is a good kid, and man, he is on it. He is really on it. I'll tell you someone who's not on it anymore. Josh Taylor was not happy with the decision. Felt he did enough to win. I don't believe that. I think he didn't do enough to win. I thought that Echo Usman won the fight. No real issue with the scorecards. Alright, look, I've done a review of this fight. I feel bad, but I'm going to push Echo Usman to the side for a second, and I'm just going to talk about Josh Taylor. And I want to speak about Josh Taylor in a sense of how good a fighter he was. And I use the word was. He doesn't seem to be that anymore. Josh Taylor, in, 18 fights, became undisputed at 140 pounds. He won the Muhammad Ali trophy. Terence Crawford was undisputed at 140. He beat, God almighty, who did he beat now? I don't have his box rec in front of me, but he beat, I forget who for the 140 title. I think it was the WBO. He then, who did he even unify with? Good Lord, it's been that long. I'm forgetting who he even flipping unified with. But he fought the likes of John Molina Jr., nothing to write home about. Felix Diaz, nothing to write home about. Unified for undisputed against Julius Ndongo. You know. And, Victor Postal, that's who he beat. That's not a bad win, to be fair. Josh Taylor beat Victor Postal too, for the WBC. But at the end of the day, that is not the same run that Josh Taylor was on. Right? Josh Taylor fought a prime Ivan Baranchyk. He actually fought a close to his best Miguel Vasquez after he beat O'Hara Davis, and then he beat Victor Postal. Victor Postal had only lost, I think he only lost to Crawford at the time Josh Taylor fought him, so that was impressive. He did that in Scotland. That was on the Cyclone shows when he was promoted by McGuiggins back then. And then he goes and he beats, after Baranchyk, he beats, God, who did he beat now? Forgetting these things. He fought Baranchyk. I can't remember who he fought in the semis, actually. Or did he fight someone? Either way, he fights Prograis in the final. That was an unbeaten prime Regis Prograis. And then he goes and he beats Jose Ramirez to become undisputed. I'm sure there's other names in there as well. I just forget. He fought Ray Martin. Actually, I think Ray Martin failed a PED test for that fight. Ivan Baranchyk, Regis Prograis, Jose Ramirez. I mean, that run was phenomenal. He also fought, I think he was tied, that guy, knocked him out in the round in, that was during the behind closed door era. Josh Taylor was phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal. You hear people say, Taylor was never that good. No. People. Let's not kid ourselves here. Josh Taylor was a great fighter. He absolutely was. Discipline was Josh Taylor's biggest vice. Lack thereof. He clearly likes the party. He clearly likes a drink. I mean, I think I used to, on one of my old Instagram accounts, or the old Instagram account I used to have for the channel before I made the new one, I think he was building a house and he was making sure, like, to put, taps for beer in and stuff like that. So he likes a drink. And look, I'm not going to condemn a man for liking a beer, of course not. But a man liking a beer is one thing. A professional athlete doing it consistently is not going to, you're not going to have longevity doing it. You're just not, You look at the likes of Tyson Fury and you'd say he's maybe the exception rather than the rule. But at the end of the day, he's a heavyweight, doesn't have to cut weight. And generally speaking, the heavyweights are not as talented as the guys at 140, 147. So if Fury who I think has been looking a bit jaded the last couple of fights, he's still got enough there to be able to do stuff with these guys, with the exception of Usyk. You can't do that at 140, 147. Hell no. As we saw last night, Taylor's legs look gone. He's not looked good under Joe McNally. In fact, he's never won a fight under Joe McNally. So, no offense, Joe McNally, I've nothing against you personally, but facts are facts. So, yeah, look, I would say stick a fork in Josh Taylor, which is a shame because he was a tremendous fighter. He really was. So let's not knock Josh Taylor under any circumstance. He was a tremendous fighter in the ring. He was never overhyped. He was never a bum. He was never any of those things. I just think that he probably did Undisputed too quick. He probably got to Undisputed too quick. He probably did what he needed to do too quick, and then kind of probably, I would say maybe mentally checked out from then on and just went on the tear, for want of a better word. As for Echo Usman, I mean, mate, that's a brilliant win. It was a great performance. Yeah, I think the sky's the limit for Echo Usman. I'd love to see him back out again. He's an entertaining fighter. He definitely has a fun style to watch. Doesn't stop throwing punches. So keep going, Echo Usman. Alright, so that's the reviews of all the fights done. Let's get into a bit of boxing news. So, Tyson Fury has confirmed, for those who, are going to be sad to hear, that he will not be coming back. So he stated that he will not be coming back. Now, I did a video on yesterday, about that. And I said, isn't it interesting the way he picks and chooses those random, well, you could say they're random moments. I don't think they're necessarily that random. Because Tyson Fury announces he's retired on the press conference for The Last Crescendo. He starts, posting cryptic messages with Sugar Hill Stewart and his dad when the Usyk Dubois press conference is going to full swing. Coincidence? I think not. I think Tyson Fury is planning something. What that is, we don't know. I suspect once we get really into Dubois Usyk fight week, or coming up to the fight, most likely fight week. Because do you remember, he announced his fight with Deontay Wilder, his first fight. I think it was either the day before or the day of Joshua Povetkin. Alright, so, I mean, you see what he's doing. This is what this guy does. Like, this guy he's always trying to be the center of attention from other people. That's just Tyson Fury in a nutshell. In other news, have you heard the news? Oh, we're all looking forward to seeing Manny Pacquiao. Yes, Manny Pacquiao. Like, we heard speculation that Pacquiao was coming back. Speculation, of course. And it seemed an inevitability that we were going to get the announcement. But really, until you hear it from the horse's mouth, you kind of like, okay, maybe it's not going to happen. He's back in the gym with Freddie Roach. It's happening July the 19th. I hate it. Honestly, I hate it. I just, I hope, I don't know. I just hope he doesn't get hurt. That's all I gotta say on that. I just truly hope he doesn't get hurt. I don't want to see him get hurt. I love Manny Pacquiao. I watched him when I was, in my teens growing up, my early teens growing up. I was in school when he fought De La Hoya. I was, I love Manny Pacquiao. But, nah, man, just leave it out, man. I'm not even going to labour the point on it, but just leave it out. Dylan White, ahead of his return to the ring. I thought I need to get active as quickly as possible because I'm serious about having a last run at it again and possibly fighting for a world title. Dylan White saying he's going to go and try and fight for a world title. I think you are... I like your optimism, man. I do. I like it. I like the fact that, you're thinking, all right, I can go and do this again, but I don't think you can. I think with Dylan White, listen, Dylan White has done very well for himself with the ability he has. He's never been, the most technically gifted fighter in the world. But right now, he's at a point in his career where the hard spars, the hard fights, everything is caught up to him. And honestly, like, he is looking so flipping bad. It's not even funny. I can't see Dylan White. Like, Dylan White right now, someone like an Adelaide TKV, I'd be looking at them thinking, I don't know. That's where we're at with Dylan White now. Sorry. That's where we're at with Dylan White now. So, yeah, I really don't know with Dylan White. I think Dylan White needs to personally, I think he needs to retire. I think he needs to retire. I think he's done. His time has been and gone, and that's the end of that. Plant and Charlo double header. This is from Everything Boxing. It says here Caleb Plant and Jamal Charlo are set to headline in Las Vegas on Saturday against this Saturday coming. No, I didn't even realize. Against Jose Armando Resendez and Thomas Lemanin. Non-pay-per-view. It'd want to be non-pay-per-view. Jesus Christ. It would want to be non-pay-per-view. Caleb Plant, yeah, I don't mind Caleb Plant. He's a decent fighter. I think he still has something to offer the game. Charlo, I mean, I like Charlo, the fighter, for a while, but like that was the Charlo. We haven't had the Charlo for, like, honestly, the last time that Jamal Charlo proper turned up was against Derevchenko in 2020. And since then, I know he's had his issues outside the ring, many issues, but like, I don't know. I don't know. And the last fight he had, was it last year? He didn't look right. Like, he shouldn't have, I don't think he should have been in the ring that night. I really don't. I don't think he should have been in the ring whatsoever that night. And I think that's pretty much it. This week has not been a busy week. Like, even looking at Everything Boxing, who was my go-to guy for all things boxing, I mean, I'm pretty much back to last week very, very, very quickly. Because this week really has been a quiet one. It's been a busy month of May in terms of fights. There's been a fight on every week. But now we're kind of getting into the quiet part. But saying that, in a fortnight's time, we have Fabio Wardley versus Justice Hooney in Portman Road. So we have that to look forward to this weekend. I don't think there is any fights this weekend. So I finally have a weekend of no fights. I finally have that. Which is nice. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know in the UK it's a bank holiday. Obviously, I still work an Irish contract, so for me it's a normal day. Next week's a bank holiday for me, though. I'll take the June bank holiday. But for those in the UK, in London, wherever you are in the country, hope you have a great bank holiday. Enjoy it. Go ham tonight. Do whatever you got to do. And yeah, as long as you're safe, that's the main thing. But yeah, hope you all have a great week. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. We passed 24k, so it's a little push to 25, and we can still, certainly we can do 30k by the end of the year. We are working on, hopefully in the next fortnight's time, all of this in here is going to look a bit different. And actually, I probably won't be sitting in this chair. I'll be sitting in a different one. But hopefully it'll be it'll look better, put it like that. And we've got some new things in the pipeline. And thank you everyone for the look back, for the feedback on the look back. That was phenomenal. We're filming at GMAN this week. Should be in person this week. So I don't think it'll be. I'm pretty sure we're doing it in person. Pretty sure we're good with the cameraman this week that we are doing it in person back in Ade's flat, which is kind of like a studio now at this stage with the way we have it. But yeah, we are doing that this week. So a lot to look forward to. As I said, lads, I've been honestly, it's been a busy time. I'm looking forward to, not this weekend, next weekend, this weekend coming, the following weekend, I mean, getting home to Ireland for a couple of days. And yeah, when I get home to Ireland, I just chill and see friends, and that's badly needed, because these last couple of weeks have been brilliant but busy, tiring, a lot of things, a lot's been going on. So looking forward to that. Hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Peace.